Love seeing the film on the big screen again, and I was expecting moments like the ship ending to be impressive, but what really got to me were Jack and Rose in the water, and I just thought, you've turned a brilliant film into an exceptional one. And
but you hit the nail on the head, which is 3D conversion is about the intimate moments. It's not about the spectacle. The spectacle stands on its own anyway. Those intimate moments make you, the audience, feel like you are there with them in the moment, and you are experiencing it almost live, almost in real time.
Very much so. How important was the phenomenal success of Avatar in your decision behind making this into 3D Titanic?
We started exploring the conversion of Titanic before Avatar ever came out. We felt that Titanic was a movie that we would make today, we'd make it in 3D. So we started exploring that, not knowing that Avatar would become what it became, but we believed in 3D, and we believe in what it does, which is it engages the audience more in your narrative storytelling. And if we wanted to re-release Titanic on the centenary, which we did, that there was no better way than to do it in 3D because of what it would present to the audience, which is a new way to see the movie, that's some way they've never seen it before, whether they saw it in theaters 15 years ago, or whether they've been watching it in their homes on cable or VHF or any of those things.
And some of the 3D conversions that we've seen in cinemas, the directors and filmmakers haven't actually been involved at all in them, I believe, but I suppose that couldn't be further from the truth with Titanic.
No, there have been conversions in the past that people have criticized, but look at why they had to criticize them, because the filmmakers weren't a part of that process. The movies weren't given the time to do the conversions properly. We did it in 60 weeks, 6-0, not 6 that other movies have done it. And Jim Cameron, the auteur, the creative person, looked at every frame of film and put his signature on it to assure that when audiences go to see this movie, they can't discern the difference if it was shot in 3D or converted.
And how tempted were you, as you watched it frame by frame, to go in and alter things, tweak things here and there, effects, etc.?
Initially, when we started working on the movie, we felt a slight temptation to start changing things, to improve it, maybe add back another scene. But we quickly said no. We quickly tied our hands and said, we don't want the audience going and playing Where's Waldo? We want them to just enjoy the movie for what it was. Was it a perfect movie? No, but it's the imperfections of filmmaking that I think welcome people into the medium and they're used to.
And as you said, the film now really looks like it was shot in 3D in the first place, I think. I loved Kate stepping out of the car at the beginning and the brim of her hat.
Right.
And that was a moment that worked amazingly in 3D. What sort of moment really stood out for you as one that worked exceptionally well in 3D?
There are several moments throughout the movie that work exceptionally well in 3D. I think one is the transition to 1912, when we come off of Old Rose and we go back to 1912 and we're revealed Rose under the purple hat. I think another one is when the ship goes to sail and the pistons are going in the engine room and I'm there and it's like, wow, that's real. And then I think it's the end of the movie. I think it's when Jack and Rose are in the frigid waters of the North Atlantic. I am there with them and I'm this invisible observer on this very personal, dramatic, and tragic moment.
And we know that Kate was at the premiere and has been fully supporting the re-release. Has Leo had a chance to see it, and if so, what did he make of it?
I went down to Australia with Jim Cameron, and we screened for Leo several 20 minutes of the movie. And after getting the shock of how he looked, Leo was again caught up in the story and the scale and the scope and the emotion of the story. Leo, unfortunately, is in production on a very intense Quentin Tarantino movie, and he could not be here for the premiere, but he was very excited by what he saw.
And 100 years after this fateful event, are there still elements that pique your own interest, or do you feel like you've sort of been around it for so long that you know everything there is to know about it?
There are definitely elements of the tragedy that pique my interest, but when we're done with this release, I'm going to be done with Titanic. We are doing a documentary called The Final Word with National Geographic that really explores forensically what happened with the ship from the moment the iceberg hit to where it lays on the bottom, which is a fascinating look that we have some of the best Titanic experts in the world participating in a round table conversation. So when we're done with this, we'll be done with Titanic.
And what do you make of James Cameron's adventures underwater? Obviously, he went down 2.5 miles to the wreck, but he went down a lot further recently, didn't he?
Jim went down to Mariana's Trench, and I think that really typifies who Jim is. Jim is someone who pushes the boundaries of what is and what is not possible. He is an explorer at heart. This was a journey of discovery for him, scientific discovery. But everything Jim does in life is an inspiration for what he puts into his films. And I think his films represent, his life experiences. And now what he experienced last week will be a part of what we do going forward.
And just finally, a word on the score, James Horner's brilliant score. How do you feel that enhances the film and the Oscar-winning song, of course?
What gives movies a heart is the score. And James Horner wrote a score for this movie that will stand the test of time. Our composers of today, I believe, are not the Beethovens and the famous composers of the past, but they really are the film composers. And their scores are the equivalent of those great pieces that were written so many years ago. They evoke emotion without seeing the picture. You can listen to his suite that he played last night at the premiere, and it's evocative. And the song, what he did in the song is he captured a way for people to relive what they felt when they saw the movie, but in a much shorter period of time. And he did that on his own. We didn't ask him to do that. James Horner went out, wrote the song, got Will Jennings to write the lyrics, and the first time we ever heard the song, he had gotten Celine Dion to demo it.
Wow, quite a first demo.
Jon
Landau, thanks very much.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.